when you were at O&A, was there like a, I mean, it was just like what 3-4 guys, kind of like. Was there a hierarchy, if you will? Was there like
on the show?
Yeah, like could you get like punished by Anthony or Opie for doing something like that?
O&A were the bosses. I mean, obviously, I was there. The company technically could have fired me if I really fucked up, but I was there at what they says the pleasure of Opie and Anthony. Like they were kind of my bosses.
Yeah.
And you knew that they were in charge of it, but they gave us in a very free reign thing, but it was just them. We had producers and stuff like that, but nobody could have really fired me unless I really fucked up. But Opie and Anthony, like
right.
The program directors or anything like that, didn't have much to say because of my contract.
But they were just killing and like whatever Opie.
And that's the way
that had such good ratings. It was like
this is on Sirius where we just we first started on Sirius. We only had 11,000 people listening because we were on a pay tier. So we met the first day. There was like 11,000 people. It was poorly promoted. They were almost half embarrassed to have the show. Yeah. October of 2004. Then it just kind of grew and grew, and we got on the regular platform. But it took a long time to get off that extra $2 a month pay tier.
Yeah.
And they weren't promoting it, and it was a fucking rough go for a while.
What do you mean like what's pay tier meaning that you had to pay?
You had to pay Sirius.
Right.
Then you had to pay an extra $2 to get Opie and Anthony.
Oh,
so we weren't on the main platform.
Why is that?
They just, again, they didn't want to hear complaints. And I think that they wanted to kind of keep us. They wanted us there, but they also didn't want to promote that we were there just because of the type of jokes we did were fucking hideous.
But then they end up making, I mean, eventually you're fucking crushing for them too, right?
Yeah, it went very well. We had a
great.
long run there. And then, unfortunately, Anthony got fired in 2014. That little silly goose tweeting. That Twitter gets you every time. Twitter and a fucking Twitter and alcohol.
I was going to say, you got a glass of whiskey and a phone is the most dangerous combo in the goddamn world.
Can I ask what he tweeted?
Oh, it was just he was very mad. He was in Times Square with a camera, and he took a photo of a black woman, and she kind of hit him or something. They had a big altercation, and so he tweeted some things that some would deem insensitive.
I think the word animal might have been in there.
He was very angry. Yeah,
he was angry.
He was very, very angry, and he had been, I believe, tipping a few back.
I know that game.
Yeah, I knew it was bad when Sean Hannity called me on the phone. And he goes, "What is he doing?" No. I'm like, "I don't know." And Sean goes, "He's got to take those down."
Yeah.
And I mean, Ant and I are friends, but I don't tell people what I don't. And Sean he said, "Give me his number." And Hannity actually got Anthony to take those down in that moment.
No.
But yeah, he was just angry. But he didn't. The thing that everybody missed is like, hey, look, they weren't nice things that he said. But he had a gun on him and he didn't pull it. Like, he didn't respond violently.
Yeah.
He just said a bunch of dumb shit on Twitter. I mean, he didn't punch the woman. He just said a bunch of dumb. So, people kind of overlooked the fact that, yeah, he said some mean stuff, but he didn't behave terribly.
I would say, though, the bar of he didn't pull a gun on her is a little bit.
Let me say this, because I'm only saying that because he had one and, like, he didn't.
He wasn't truly enraged.
You're right. That wasn't. That was a little. He didn't get his car out of the lot and run her over. You're right. That was a bit of a stretch on my part. Fair enough. I'm biased because I love him. I did really go. He didn't hijack a plane. What? Fucking October 7th. He wasn't there. I mean, yeah. You're right. I really am. Who is he fucking? He wasn't the 20th hijacker. I can go on and on with things that he wasn't. But you're right. There's probably a more tempered way to look at it. Hey, he didn't strike her back. That's more even-handed. Nobody would have pulled the gun for that. You're right.
Did you guys have a rivalry or anything with Stern?
They did. I think Howard fucked up with them in the sense that they loved. This is before I got there. And he kind of like he wasn't. I don't think he didn't really embrace them. Because I think if he had just said, "Hey, these guys are really funny. You should check these guys out," something tells me that they would have just loved him. But it became like, and maybe naturally it would have happened anyway. But yeah, they had a real rivalry with him. And those guys, Anthony did a funny Howard impression. And those guys were pretty fearless when it came to, like, everybody else was scared, and those guys were fucking monsters.
Yeah.
And they didn't give a shit, and he knew they didn't give a shit. So when we were on Sirius, we were on WNEW. He was on K-Rock, and Opie and Anthony could not say the name Howard Stern, or it would get dumped out of. It went through Mel, who was in charge at the time. That O&A could not say Howard's name on the air or it would get dumped.
What's the logic behind that? Like, we just don't want to rock the boat?
He didn't want to deal with it.
Howard.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Wow.
So there was that
I would
rivalry.
have said it. You would have been hitting that dump
They
button
did.
in 2 seconds.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I remember when Anna Nicole Smith was big and her lawyer's name was Howard K. Stern, and they couldn't even say that. It's true. Al Dukes was in the dump button. He's like, I don't know what to do. He's fucking.
I can just see Al doing that. That's fucking funny.
I mean, Al was in a rough spot. He didn't want to get fucking. So those guys did get fired. We all got fired with those guys. Like I didn't continue working. I was with them. And when we came on to Sirius, then the gloves came off, and it got. But then all of a sudden we were all together at Sirius XM, and then after that it was whatever.
So there was a period of time where you guys were cool or no?
No, never really cool. I never had a problem with Howard because he didn't fuck with me, and it was before I got there. And in 2007, Beth, his wife, had a show with Steve Sharippa, and I did that show on like Pix 11 or whatever, and they were very nice to me, and she was very sweet. So there was none of that weird. I didn't get any weird vibes, and I don't know Howard, but I've met him 2 or 3 times, and he's always been very nice.
Yeah.
I introduced myself to him once because he was there, and I'm like, hey, I'm Jerry. He goes, oh, I know who you are. He goes, hey, man, that was really, you're nice to my wife. And like, he was very cool, so I was like, I'm not going to be a dick to this guy who's been cool to me.
Which is so easy.
Yeah, and he didn't trash me. If he would have trashed me, I would have trashed him, but he never did.
Yeah.
It is weird. It's a weird position, too, though, like, to be the king of the castle or whatever it is. And have someone new come in.
Yeah.
Where like the logic is like just accept them and
embrace them a little bit.
it,
And, like
and
it'll be
have
so much
fun
better
with
for
it.
everybody. Yeah.
But like internally, you just don't want to do that.
No,
Yeah.
if you have any competitive bone in your body, and especially, to get to where Howard got, or anybody in a position of success, like the game a little bit. You see how people can come and go quickly, how people can fuck you over, and you're on. By that point, you're probably like a paranoid,
And like
every fucking people come and take over.
Yeah.
Every time I read about it, I'm always like, why don't you just do that? And then there's like, I try and be as nice as I can and helpful as I can to everybody, but like, I want to win still. I still like.
Yeah.
Like Brady with the backup quarterback. Like it's not my job to train him.
Yeah.
It's
one of those
we're the same company, but we're not.
Yeah, it's
We're
not my
still
job.
There's
competitors.
only so many minutes in a day.
Yeah.
And I want to listen to me.
I find that there is enough. The advantage to the competition is that the disadvantage is a lot of funny guys out there. There's a lot of funny motherfuckers doing podcasts right now.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to get people to subscribe to Sirius when they can listen to fucking a bunch of these fucking maniacs for free, or watch their specials on YouTube for free. So that's the disadvantage. Is like it's harder to, to stay. But the advantage is there's room for everybody, man. There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of people listening to shit. People get tired of shit, then they come back to it. So I've just kind of learned that people that open for me are now going to do arenas, and I'll tap dance to sell tickets in a comedy club, and I just accept that. But I had good taste in people.
I'll
I
tell
know it
you
was
what,
funny.
I got a good coaching tree, man.
I fucking will say this. I had some funny people along with me. Like I saw some really funny. I never resented funny people.
All right, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Click that button.
Or I'll cut off my finger.